Hi everyone, happy Friday and welcome to my weekly inspirational vlog here at Sewspire.com. Today I am enjoying a piping hot cup of Starbucks Holiday Blend. I am so curious, what is in your mug? So good. So before we get started with our holiday project, which we're going to be making today, I want to share a little story for what is inspiring not only this project, but me this week. I have been thinking about this ever since it happened, and it really is just such a tiny, small act of kindness, but it had such an amazing impact on not only me, but my youngest daughter, Isabel. So in our neighborhood, an Aldi grocery store recently opened up. And so while I didn't necessarily need groceries, I was excited to see what the inside of the store looked like, as I've never been in one before. And so just for fun, I suggested to her that we go over to check it out. So again, I really wasn't prepared to actually do a big shop, but I didn't know what I might find. So we made our way inside, and then I quickly realized that there's no carts on the inside of the store. And so I turned around and went out the entrance, because also the exit didn't seem readily accessible either. They had like this security thing going on. But anyways, I was just discombobulated, right? Being in a new space for the first time. And when I spun around, there was a gentleman standing right there in the way. And so I said, "Oh, excuse me." And he said, "Do you need a cart?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I think they're outside." And he said, "Do you have a quarter?" And I said, "No, I don't have a quarter." And then I must have looked really confused. And he said, "You need a quarter to get a cart. Here, take mine." And I see his quarter in the cart and this big, huge cart. And so I was just floored by his kindness. And then he said, "I have more quarters in my car." So he was willing to walk all the way back to his car, give me his cart, and delay his own shopping trip. And I just thought that was so incredibly kind of him. And so did my daughter, Isabel. And so we did go ahead, now that all this effort had been put into getting us this cart, we did go ahead and do a medium-sized grocery shop. And then when I got to the checkout, I realized they don't have any bags at the Aldi. Also something completely different than any grocery store around us. So I had all these little things that the cashier was just putting right back in this big giant cart. And the fellow who gave me his cart and loaned me this quarter then got in line behind me, and he said, "I just want to let you know that when you return the cart, you'll connect this chain and it will give you back the quarter." And so I thought he, was politely asking for his quarter back, which was totally fine. I said, "Okay, no problem. We'll get the quarter right back to you." But I was parked a little bit out there, so I was just a tad bit stressed out that I had no bags, because now I had to rush to the car, put all these little things in the trunk. Lesson learned, disposable bags. I need to get those back in the car. We had gotten away from them with COVID, but I wanted to make sure to return his quarter to him. So we rushed to the car, and we were just giggling the whole way there, loaded all the little goodies in the trunk, and then rushed back to the cart return. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get this thing plugged in and get this poor guy's quarter back. And so luckily he came up behind me again, and I said, "I don't know. I have no idea how to get your quarter." And he figured it out and got his quarter back. And I thanked him again for his kindness. But he's probably long forgotten about this. And there's zero chance he watches this channel, but I wanted to share the story with you all because it was such a tiny gesture, and a quarter is probably insignificant to most of us, but it meant so much to me that a random stranger was willing to take additional time out of his day and do something nice. And so I'm going to be repaying that kindness every time I go to the Aldi. I'm going to have an extra quarter and be willing to give that up. And I told everybody in my house this story, and I'm telling you all this story. It seems like a lot of places now everything's done on your phone, and so we're not carrying these quarters with us like we used to do way back when. But it's nice, I think, to to pay the toll for the person behind you, or even, gosh, if you're a big spender, you could pick up the order for the person behind you if you're in the drive-thru. Just think about that in this giving season, how you could just make a small contribution that could potentially have a much greater impact than you are aware of, as is the case with this quarter. So I hope that inspires you all again to perform a small random act of kindness in this season of giving. Now, today we are going to be working with this lovely Slinky Minky, which does shed just a little bit, and we are going to be duplicating a gift that I gave to my daughter Meg for her 20th birthday party last month, and she really liked it, so I wanted to add it into this holiday gift series. I actually got the idea for this project when I was in the Hallmark. They had these same pillows. It's going to be a pillow crafted out of sweater material. So please keep that in mind. If you have an old sweater, there's for the chunky cable knit sweaters, or gosh, if you know how to knit or crochet, you could go ahead and really make this special. I think you would still pretty much need to line it though. And so what it is, it's a heart pillow, and you weight it, so it's like a heart hug. And so you use these poly pellets, and I got this bag at the Hobby Lobby. It's produced by Fairfield and it's by Polyfill, and this bag here is 6 pounds of pellets, so it'll go a long way. It still feels really heavy. I've only made the one heart pillow for Megan from this, but I think I can make several heart pillows from this one bag, which is I thought it was a little bit expensive, but it's worth it because this is one of those handmade gifts that whoever receives it is going to know that you really think they're special, because it is a heart, and a heart symbolizes love. So I suggest you either choose like a sweater material or something slinky and wonderful. And then how you do it, it's really a very easy sew. It's a little bit cumbersome to get the pellets inside of it, but if you have a funnel, which are hard to come by, I tried to shop for one in the store. They don't sell funnels anymore, but you can make one out of paper. But aside from getting the little pellets in there, it's not too bad. And it's not all pellets. You're going to substitute with just the regular polyfill. So those are the materials that you'll need. Then you're going to need to make your heart template. So I cut mine out of the Peltex so I can reuse that. And so I just folded it in half, and then trace the heart shape on there. And I didn't make the bottom a pure point because that's going to be kind of hard to stitch. So it's just straight across the base there. So you just freehand your heart, and just to give you some perspective here, my heart is 12 inches right down the center there, and then across the whole heart it's about 18 inches. So it's at its biggest point, 12 by 18. You can do them smaller if you like, but Megan seemed to really enjoy this size, and it doesn't stay this big after you sew it. The seam allowance consumes some, and then the fluff consumes some, but it was a nice size. You'll see, you lay it right over your heart, and it's a little weighted pressure, and it's nice and soft, and you can just hold that. So this goes along with the random acts of kindness, and just the kindness and love in general is the theme for today's vlog. So we are going to get started sewing this project now. I'm going to go ahead and cut out my 2 pieces of the minky using my heart template, and then I'm going to position those right sides facing, and I am going to stitch all the way around that to create my little heart case. I want to leave open a 4 to 5 inch spans on the side here. When I made Megan's, I left the base open, and I didn't have a good way to finish that. So with this one, I'm going to leave an opening here to turn it and fill it, and it will make my life much easier. So I will be right back with you just as soon as I get my materials. Okay, so I have my heart template on my minky, which is doubled over here on the cutting table, and I'm just going to put a couple pins in this through all of the layers to hold that nice. And then again, fair warning, the minky sheds, so prepare to get a little linty, and I'm just going to cut right around that. And I don't want to damage my template, so I'm cutting out about 1/4 inch from that. And I'm just trying to maintain the integrity of that heart shape. Okie doke. So I have 2 minky hearts, and I can go ahead and free my pattern from that, so I can save this for future heart pillow construction. And so the minky does have a right side and a wrong side, so I just want to layer those both right sides facing. And then you can pin or clip the minky together, whatever works best for you. I find the less you handle it, the better, because you don't want the heart to lose its shape, and you don't want the pattern pieces to become too misaligned, or you won't be able to tell that this is a heart. So get that secure. This is a project that really, once you cut it, you need to go ahead and sew, because this material does have some stretch to it, and it will not necessarily go back to its original dimensions. So get your heart cut out. Just build one of these at a time, and then go ahead and, like I said, stitch all the way around this. 3/8 of an inch seam allowance is fine. You could bump that up to 5/8 if you're more comfortable with that. And then leave yourself a 4-inch opening on this side where you have the largest spans of straightaway, if that makes sense to you. I'm gonna enjoy another sip of my coffee before I get going. And then when you get to the actual dip or the V in the heart, sink your needle in the down position and then pivot, and you're going to want to reinforce there. So I actually went backwards on that V so I could keep that nice and tight. And so now I'm coming around to that side. And I'm going to go ahead and back stitch and get my 4-inch opening in there now so I don't forget it. So I'll just cut that thread after back stitching very well and then bump forward. And then I can get a nice finish on the base of this heart, which is equally important to retaining the shape. So I'm going to come into about center of that portion of the heart, which was the straightaway there, and I'm going to back stitch really good. And then I'm going to pivot and go forward again and back stitch really good. So it ends up coming, you know, to a sharp point at the base, but when you cut it, you don't want to cut the sharp point, you want to cut it straight across. I hope that that is very clear on this template. Okay, so on this first side, I have about a 4-inch opening to turn it and fill it. Now I can go ahead and finish stitching all the way around. I have stitched all the way around, less the little opening to turn, and the minky is slinky. Don't stress out if it bunches up in parts because you're stuffing this. It's highly unlikely that anyone will notice that. And so I have double checked that all of the seams are secure, and now I just want to turn this around, and now hopefully most of that lint is going to stay inside of this pillow. And I have a really pretty blue heart happening here. You see that? Aw, it's so cute. So the first step is to add your polyfill, and so just take a lot of this, and if your opening is as big as your hand, that's really nice because then you can get that in there and get it up in the corners. And if you wanted, before you attached these pieces right side facing, you could monogram or embroider this just with a little message. Or put their name on it. Kids love that. But I think this is a nice gift for humans of all ages. Anybody who needs a little extra love. And inside of these bags of polyfill, if you're not familiar, there is a turning tool. I like to save these. These are awesome for bag making when you're poking out the corners. They're also useful for when you're stuffing little things. So don't accidentally throw that out. Keep that. It's a wonderful addition to your sewing room. And so you want to get your heart good and stuffed. Not overstuffed, but I bought one regular size bag of the polyfill. This is 12 ounces of polyfill, and I got 2 heart pillows out of it. So about half of that, or 6 ounces of polyfill per 12 by 18 inch heart is perfect. And you just want to evenly distribute that polyfill around there to your heart, and you can see it definitely looks like a heart, and you can see it's more, you know, huggable size now that it's stuffed. So now the next step is to weight this pillow. And so these beads come with a little port spout. They are tiny though. I'm going to show you what they look like. So you definitely don't want to accidentally spill these. So that's why I suggest the funnel, but I could not find a funnel. Look, some just already went on the floor. They're flinging everywhere. So what I'm going to do is dig a hole in my polyfill and then pour in my poly beads. And then I'll have to kind of reach inside of there and distribute them so they don't try to fall out. And I'm just kind of pushing them in between that fill. And then I'll keep doing this until I get the weight I want for this pillow. Okay, so it's starting to get a little heavier. But you do want this to definitely have some weight to it because that's what gives it the whole hug feel. So just keep taking your time. Pushing those little beads down in there. Okay, and now mine is feeling heavy enough to feel like a hug. I want to be careful though, because I don't want to spill any of those guys out. Yeah, it's good. It's got some substance to it. So I'm going to cap my beads so I don't make a hot mess there. And then I'm not going to fuss with this until I get it stitched closed, but then I'll squish it all around and distribute those beads. So it would definitely be wonderful if you could hand stitch this closed, but I know many of us don't have time or patience for that, even though it's not really honestly that big of an opening. I'm going to go ahead and put mine up on the machine. The trick to machine sewing this is get as many of those beads away from that opening as possible, and then tuck enough of that material down in there that you're going to capture both sides of this. It'll actually be 4 layers because it's folded over in your stitch. And I don't recommend stitching through the poly beads, so you are going to want to get it clipped or pinned and then give it a little shake so those move down. And I think I'm good now to put this up on the machine deck, and using a very tight stitch like 2.0, I'm going to stitch as close as I can to that opening so that I can conceal this. The nice thing about working with the minky is the stitches will sink down in there. Just go real slow and try and stitch straight, and definitely back stitch. I think think I'm past the opening, but I just want to gently pull on that and make sure that nothing's going to escape, and it looks really good. And I didn't even use coordinating thread, and you can't even tell. It just sinks right down into that cuddle fabric. Flannel might also be a nice option for this. Really, anything soft and wonderful is going to be nice. So you can see it's a great dramatic heart here. Now, what I want to do now that I know it's all sealed up is try and knead it and work those beads into that polyfill so that it's not lopsided. And that'll just take a little doing, but it really is awesome. So I am probably going to keep this little love hug heart for myself, because if I give it to anyone else, Megan's not going to feel like it was a very special gift for her. So only Meg and I will have one of these blue silky hearts, but I hope that you know somebody in your life who you could pick out custom fabric for and put a little message with and give them a heart hug for the holidays. So I hope you enjoyed this project. It was a lot of fun for me to design it and produce this tutorial for you. Please let me know in the comments if you'll be making a heart hug and for whom. And then before we say goodbye, I want to announce the winners of the 6 Sewspire PDFs. Every Friday through the end of the year, I am giving away 6 of my PDF tutorials to 6 lucky winners. You also have the option of choosing just my 21 project bundle, which I put together exclusively for the holidays. So if you prefer to get the 21 project bundle, which is one convenient PDF, you may opt to select that as your prize in lieu of the 6 individual PDFs. The choice is yours. I will put the link to my Etsy shop down in the notes. Please check that out and see if there are any projects there that you like. And then if you are one of the lucky winners, I will need you to message me from the Sewspire Facebook group so I know you are you, and let me know if you want the single 21 project PDF or which 6 individual PDFs you would like, and then also give me your email address, and as soon as I see your message, I will deliver your prizes. You may want to review the past Friday vlogs since October to see if you are already a winner and you just didn't realize it. Thank you all for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure. I hope you feel inspired to create something for someone you love today. And please do keep those random small acts of kindness front of mind as we move through this oftentimes hectic, busy season of giving. All right? I'm so happy to be here with you today and to inspire you and share this project. Until we meet again, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you all have an awesome weekend and happy sewing. I'll see you next week.